everyone. Welcome to this guest lecture of the Sync series brought to you by Synergy, the annual technical symposium of the Department of Mechanical Engineering, NIT Trichy. Today we have with us Mr. Nitish Gudapati, an alumnus of NIT Trichy. He graduated with an honors in BTech in 2021 and is currently pursuing MS in Mechanical Engineering at one of the leading institutions of teaching and research in the world, the Stanford University. He's a former research intern at IIT Delhi and the University of Waterloo. A robotics enthusiast known for working long hours for the Robotics and Machine Intelligence Club of NIT Trichy, he has also been the president of the same. Thank you for joining with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So for the first question, I would like to ask, how's life at Stanford and how is it different from life in NIT Trichy?
Yeah, it's a major overhaul of how the day-to-day activities goes over here. In NIT Trichy, we have the entire education system is kind of different here in the US. For example, the flexible curriculum in NIT Trichy is that you have a few electives to take on apart from the core courses, right? Whereas here, the flexible curriculum is you can choose any course that you want to take from any department, be it it need not be even in engineering. I can take even courses from psychology, medicine, sustainability. There are many schools within Stanford that I can choose from. So as right now, I'm taking 3 courses for this quarter, and only one of them is in mechanical engineering, it's a mechanical department course, and that too, it's not a core course as you expect it to be. It is designing emotion for reactive car interfaces. So it is a mixture of psychology with technical stuff. So it's a design institute course. So you have a lot of flexibility in terms of the courses, and also whatever classes you're taking are more application oriented, and then you have a lot of hands-on activity more than teaching hours. And my classes are just 9 hours per week maximum at the most, and but then the assignments take about 20 hours or more every week. So whatever you learn is through assignments and through your hands-on experience.
So at NIT Trichy, what were the best memories that you had in the college?
Yeah, there are a lot of good memories in NIT Trichy, in my first couple of years, and then unfortunately, the pandemic happened, and then we couldn't get to enjoy a lot for the rest half. Rest one-fourth or so. So yeah, most memorable ones are probably the days I spent with my friends in hostel and probably in my club. We went for a trip as a part of the club, and yeah, we had things planned out for my 4th year, but then unfortunately none of them happened. So, yeah.
So talking about your experience at NIT Trichy and how it helped you for hires. So you were a part of a tech club, and I would like to ask, how was this helpful in you getting into Stanford?
Right. For me particularly, I would say it did help a lot, because the curriculum in mechanical engineering in NIT Trichy particularly is not that inclusive of interdisciplinary studies, as of at least during my time it wasn't so. So the whatever extra knowledge I wanted to gain in terms of robotics or controls or dynamics and stuff, it came through my work on projects and internships and stuff. So in that regard, I think it definitely did help me, and it is a significant part of what I am today. It shaped me really a lot. But it's not necessary that you need to be in a tech club, because I've known many people who are at Stanford and have no clubs, who haven't been in any clubs or haven't had a significant contribution from clubs or any societies, because it's all just a way for you to stay focused. So even if you're a part of a club, you need to be, you need to work on projects, you need to work on developing network and then internships and stuff, which you could do even without clubs, right? The only thing which a club provides advantage is that you have a set of group of people who are working on the same thing, as well as a diverse set of alumni who have experience in relevant fields through their years of college. And so yeah, that is the advantage that a club brings in. But instead you can also work with professors on projects relevant to fields which you're interested in pursuing, or internships. Actually, I would say internships are way much more higher than the regular projects that you do as a part of a club or a hobby project. So even club projects could be done under professors, which have more value than working on your own.
How did the pandemic affect your career, and what effect does it still have?
One thing was that the classes were online during our NIT Trichy final year, so it would have been much better if it was offline. And I think it depends on person to person. Like there were varying degrees of people were affected by the pandemic. Like I mean, I've seen people who have been significantly impacted by that, and there are people who didn't have that much of an impact. So yeah, in my case, I think apart from that, it was pretty fine, normal, not that impactful. Yeah. And for now, like at Stanford, I don't think it's that much of an impact because like my classes are offline entirely. So but the only thing is that I need to wear masks for long hours because all the classes need to be, I mean, everyone needs to be wearing masks inside campuses, inside classrooms, because it's a closed environment. So yeah, apart from that, it's pretty fine here. And then this weekly COVID test, which is a norm here. And yeah, apart from that, it's fine.
Student who is interested in robotics and is just starting his BTech, what department would you prefer, or he should prefer?
It could be anything, like any of the circuital branch or any non-circuital branch like mechanical engineering or even production engineering, as long as you are focused on what your subdomain is. Like if you, for example, you could be working on the intelligence part, which could mean you can take computer science engineering, or you can work on the electronics of the project or electrical designing of the robot, which could be electrical engineering. You can take up control, where it could be ICE department, electrical department, or mechanical department. It could be instrumentation. It could be even the choice of materials that you use. For example, if you take 3D printers, you can experiment with the different filaments that you are doing, that you're working on, which could be a part of the material science department. So it's all interdepartmental. So, and it's not necessary that you need to be, say, in CS or electrical department to pursue robotics. And even if you are not, even if you don't have rigid experience in these fields, you can always take up courses from outside the college and then work on it and improve if you really want to shift.
When can one ideally start preparing for higher studies?
I think it's a vague question per se, because I mean, there's no rigid answer. You could have started it right from your 12th grade, and then have it entirely mapped out for your undergrads, and then plan out in a phased manner, how do you want to go about your life and how do you want to pursue your career. Or you could, there are people even deciding that, okay, I want to go for hires in their third year, but then they have everything set until then. So it depends upon how you want to be. If you have an interest to pursue higher education right from the beginning, then probably you can even start I mean, yeah, I know a couple of people who have done internships even in their first year, and like, so, and carrying on forward in field throughout the rest of the years. And then so everything you do as a part of your profile development comes under, say, would help you for your higher studies or even job per se. So it depends upon where you draw the boundary line, because your profile also is a major part of your application, right? So if you're saying the application has only GRE preparation and those intricate details, then probably like your third year end should be fine. But you take it the overall experience of developing a profile, internships, projects, your GPA and everything, then probably like your entire BTech life could be considered as a stepping stone for your higher studies.
So for a student who is interested in robotics, what kind of internships would you like advise them to pursue, and how would they pursue it?
It depends upon the branch that you're in. So if you're in, because like it starts with how you get an internship first in the first place. You need to have some basic knowledge in that field in order to get an internship opportunity. So the thing you could start with is like working on some small scale hobby projects so that you can land into an internship or do online courses related to the fields that you are interested in. And robotics is a diverse field. Like you don't need to be like coding all the time in order to be pursuing robotics. There is design. You can design and fabricate a chassis for the robot. You can develop a physical structure that is efficient and say reduce the intensity on the electrical and control part, which is also mechanical work. But those are typically underrated in robotics, because people think robotics means electrical engineering or computer science engineering. So yeah, it all depends upon which field you want to pursue. And so yeah, just try to gain some background knowledge in the particular subdomain you want to pursue, and then just go about it. And yeah, that's it.
So regarding hires, what would be your advice to people with a low CGPA, and how do you think they can improve their chances on getting into a better university?
Typically, universities don't take CGPA as the only criteria or the main criteria for your application. It's generally a holistic review of your entire profile. So say if you're changing your branches, if you're shifting your major from one to another, then probably they focus more on how you did your projects and how you have any relevance in the curriculum, in the program that you're applying to. Or even say if you're really interested and then you have a convincing reason for them to admit you, then you need to be really convincing in your SOP. The way you write your SOP will matter the most. But then I would say like work more on your profile, and if possible, yeah, improve your CGPA, because if you have a good CGPA, then probably like even if one or other factors in your profile are a bit low, it would patch it up significantly. Like, but then that doesn't mean that if you have a high GPA, it would you are guaranteed an admission in any university. That is also not the case. So, and to be honest, nobody knows what goes on in the applications internally in university. It's a very human way of selecting candidates, and it's not an exclusive process. Like say, you are not competing against others. It's basically like only about you. Are you a good fit or not? That's it. So yeah, like a high CGPA may not be always necessary, but then it is a good thing to have, and then like it's a thing that you're safer to have. And even if you have a lower CGPA, like you can still patch it up with good. you can still patch it up with better internships or projects with research experience or publications or say recommendation letters. So all these will patch it up accordingly. So yeah.
So what factors should a student consider while shortlisting universities?
Yeah, so whenever you're applying for shortlisting for universities, the main thing that I would say you need to focus on is the relevance of your profile to that university, the current research or trends of that particular university. Say you are interested in thermal engineering or say suspensions, and you want to work on that, but then you choose a university which is not currently working on that, then it's highly likely that you won't get an admit because they're not working on that and you wouldn't be a good fit for that particular university. So rather than your profile and say, okay, my CGPA is this much, I might get admitted into this, rather than seeing to that, it's better if you find a good match with the professor in that particular university who is very close to the field that you're working on or you're interested in working on. And that is the most important factor rather than choosing, say, okay, this is a reputed university, I need to go to that. Rather than that, this would be a good way to hunt for universities or programs. And also, just because you did a bachelor's in a particular program need not be the case. You need to continue that in your master's. If your field is else somewhere, I mean, your field of interest is in something else, and a different department might offer a better solution and a better fit for you in that particular regard. For example, if you're interested in energy and sustainability, which is also included in mechanical engineering department, and also civil engineering department works on the same thing. So at for example, I can give you an example at Stanford. Sustainability is also, there's a subdomain in mechanical engineering for that. And the civil department is actually civil and environment engineering department. So the courses offered by the civil CE department is much more diverse and then better in terms of sustainability and energy efficiency. And there's also a there's going to be a school of sustainability which is going to start in Stanford soon. So I think just because you are in mechanical engineering and then you also have a mechanical engineering department here which is working on sustainability, doesn't mean that you have to apply there. It's better to go with the program where your particular relevance and fit is better. Yeah. And one more thing I think I can add on is, like, whenever you're choosing universities, probably like go with the ambitious, moderate, and safe universities. Like, choose a good balance between those three, so that, like, if you really want to get into some of the universities, you at least have a safe college to get into. But then relevance is the most important thing that you need to consider, even for high, ambitious, moderate, and safe colleges.
Yeah. So how is the learning curve different in Stanford and NIT Trichy? And how is the research culture in Stanford?
As I said earlier, like, the courses are pretty much straightforward, hands-on. So the knowledge that you gain through assignments and projects is a lot more than what you gain through the classes. The classes are just like, for each course, it's like 3 hours per week, and you just have 2 to 3 courses per quarter. And your assignments, you spend like every week you get a new assignment, and then which is due the next immediate week. So you get, like, there's no week where you don't have assignments or projects. So it's a continuous and rigorous process, whereas in NIT Trichy, it's not the way. I mean, be it in India, it's not the same way. Like, you have a much more phased manner, and then it's more theoretical than application oriented. And it's not, based on what I've seen, it's the case. It's almost the same case with undergraduate studies here as well, like, not just masters. So yeah, may not be as much as the masters. I mean, like, what I'm doing right now, but it's not the same as India as well. So it's like a bridge between Indian undergrad and then masters in US. So the approach is entirely different. And actually, like some of my courses are like they encourage you to collaborate with people and then like make study groups and then work together and then like share knowledge, because they believe in gaining knowledge as more important than the grades, which is not completely the case in India. Like there is still significant importance to grades in India, which is still there here, but not as much as you expect it to be. Like the focus on and learning is way more than the end result.
Can you please explain the difference between a thesis and a non-thesis master's degree?
So yeah, a thesis program is basically like a significant portion of your credit requirements is allocated to a research, independent study of research, where you need to find an advisor and then like work on a topic and then finally write a thesis. Whereas if it's a program based, like you have a final comprehensive exam or just a regular set of courses, like the same way as your undergraduate studies, like you have a set of courses, exams, and projects, and that's it. But then my program is a non-thesis based program, but still like I have an option to take research for credits. Like I can take independent study for a couple of semesters where I can work on a problem statement. I mean, it is again department based on, it varies based on department. The mechanical department, electrical department are non-thesis based, but if you go for like some environmental study or there are a couple of other departments where it is completely thesis based, and then they need to find a research advisor in their first quarter and then work on like say 4 to 5 quarters on that research, and then like they get to write a thesis on that. So if you are interested in continuing to pursue a PhD or say interested in research positions, and probably thesis might be a better option for you. But for industrial profiles, both are like almost equally good. Like I mean, it's fine whether you get into a thesis or non-thesis program, and it depends. Like if it's a non-thesis program, you have more flexibility with the courses. You can take more courses from other departments and stuff. But if it's thesis, you have more in-depth knowledge in your particular field of study. So it's a personal call that you want to take, and I don't think most colleges offer that choice. I mean, there are colleges that have both of them, but then there are some colleges which have only thesis, and there are colleges which have only non-thesis options. So depending upon the department or program you want to take. So if you have the choice, then yeah, based on your career goals, I would suggest you to take a decision accordingly.
So many people opt for 2 years of work and then pursue their higher education, while many pursue hires with no gap. So what are the differences that might arise while following either, and which one would you suggest?
Okay, this choice of whether going right after the education, your bachelor's or working and then going, has both positives and negatives on either sides. So let me just tell you that first. So if you're going directly from your undergraduate, the advantage you have is that you have just come out of studies, so you have that continuity going on. So you will find it much more easier to continue your higher studies, and rather than having it later at a later point of time, which is one thing. But the disadvantage is that you have the profile of whatever you have. In the sense, like a person coming with 2 years work experience has better chances of getting has much higher chances of getting a better admit than you. So he's at a much advantage when it comes to work experience. And then even if you have a little lower CGPA, I think work experience would patch it up a lot. So probably this could be one of the suggestions to people with lower CGPAs to work for a couple of years and then go for hires. And coming to what I would suggest, I think it's way personal for every person. It's like case by case basis. Like, what are your circumstances? What are your physical circumstances and mental circumstances around you? What is your, interest? What are your goals for life? And all that matters. And then like you need to decide based on the advantages and disadvantages that comes on with either case.
So finance is a heavy burden when trying for masters abroad. Do you have any advice which would help future aspirants?
It's pretty straightforward actually. If you have money, pay it. If you don't, get a loan. I don't know what else can you do. Like, I mean, if you are really meritorious and you are like, you have a really good profile, then probably you can apply for scholarships for universities. But yeah, it is what it is.
So regarding scholarships, in India, most of the scholarships is offered as exemption on fees. Is it the same in America or is it different? On what basis are scholarships given to a student in America?
For international students, there are very few scholarships that are offered. Like, there are a few like offered by the university themselves. For example, Stanford has a scholarship program called NIT Scholarship. So the end is that like they give out $200,000 as part of the scholarship for students, and it's not just waiving of tuition. It's like a grant that you get, so you can it waives off tuition and also additionally like pays much of your living expenses, and also you might get some amount to save depending upon how you earn, and it's given in a phased manner. And there are, apart from that, like there are university scholarships, like fellowships, where you get discount on, like you get a scholarship or fellowship on your tuition fee, like a part of your tuition fee is reduced. And in addition to that, the other ways to fund yourself is through research assistantships or teaching assistantships, where you can either get a stipend or you get a tuition waive for your for that particular quarter or semester in which you are doing the assistantship, or it could be both depending on the university. So some universities give complete funding only for PhDs. Some universities give it for both masters and PhDs. So yeah, it's university specific. So you need to check with the university which you're applying to get the exact details.
Yeah. So other than being one of the leading institutions in the world, what made you choose Stanford? And how do you think other students can be successful in getting admissions in Stanford?
I think that's really hard to answer because I said, right, nobody knows what goes on into an application in an application process, like the interviewing side. It's a very human thing that goes on internally, and it might not be the same every year. So a particular profile may get admitted in 1 year, might not be the same case, like with the exact same profile, with the exact same background, might not be admitted the next year. So there's no rigid way to answer that question. As a matter of fact, not only for Stanford University, as a matter of fact, for any university, I guess nobody can answer that. It's just that what you can do, which are in your hands to improve your chances of getting an admit. That is what you can do, which is like, work on your SOPs, your LORs, your projects, your internships, your GPA, and all these GRE, TOEFL scores, and all that. And yeah, the reason why I chose Stanford. So as like Stanford is really a huge campus. Like it's 8,300 acres. So it's more than 10 times NIT Trichy's size. And one more thing is that like it has 7 schools within on the same campus, like School of Engineering, School of Medicine, School of Management, and like so many other schools under the same roof. And it's like headed by, and it's like, each department is autonomous and it functions on their own, but then they are highly interlinked in a way that like people from any department can take courses from any other department, which is not the case with many other universities. So let's say I want to do course in psychology. I have a course here, and I can guarantee that it's one of the best in the world. It's one of the best in the world, whichever program I take, whichever course I take. Because if you see the statistics, it's Stanford ranks one of the top in almost every program. Yeah, it's ranked one of the best in every program, and it's not the case with every university. There are some universities which are good in one particular field, but not in all other things. So in that case, like I think it would be there are better choices than Stanford, maybe for a particular field. But if you want to diversify your profile and then take some other course in other fields, may not be the best fit for you, or might not be the best the best around in that particular field. So in that regard, being one of the largest universities in the world, I think Stanford is a really good destination for many people, because like you have a lot of choices and you sometimes get overwhelmed with the choices that you are offered.
So what do you plan on doing after your master's?
I'm thinking of getting an industrial experience for a couple of years, and maybe then I would decide whether to do a PhD or continue like for MBA or such. But right now, like I'm looking forward to get an industrial experience.
So did you attempt GATE?
Yeah, I did.
And how important do you think like preparing for GATE was in your journey towards Stanford?
Okay, the thing was, I was pretty determined in my first place that I want to go for higher studies, like abroad. So I didn't prepare for GATE at all. And the way the applications are for Indian universities and US universities are a lot different. And the the approach is entirely different. Like it's not technical at all. They just see your track record so far, and then like based on that, like how you are is what decides whether you're going to be in a particular abroad universities or not. Be it US, Canada, Europe, or Australia, whichever country maybe. But then in India, it's more technical, so it doesn't like both are completely disjoint in a way that one thing has no impact on the other.
So do you have any advice for students considering to do hires in other countries?
So I think whatever be the country it is, like the main aspects of the application process are pretty much the same, standardized like over the years, and it's the regular SOPs, LORs, and all that. So what I want you to focus on is the relevance of your program and the scope of and the prospects of your career after your masters, which also should be important, because if your plan is to just get the education and then come back, then fine, that is okay. But then if you're looking forward to gain some experience and then return, or be it staying there, whatever be the case, like I think I would suggest you to look for countries where you have good prospects of gaining internships or getting experience in that field. So even if you return back to your country after a couple of years, you can gain that hands-on experience, which will really help you a lot, much more than just doing your master's or PhD at a foreign country.
As a robotics enthusiast, what do you think is the scope for robotics in India in the upcoming years?
I'm not sure how is the future of robotics even in US, so I don't know if I'm in a position to answer that yet. Yeah, I mean, it could be better in a few years, but for now it in the budding stage. So, yeah.
The last question. What is your message to Synergy?
Yeah, so like during my batch or during my when I like when I was in my undergrad studies, like Synergy was more focused on the mechanical engineering and relevant fields, and it was not that diverse and not inclusive in terms of like other departments or multi-departmental or interdepartmental activities. So I think that could be included more in the themes or the activities that you plan out for the events through the main symposium or even through the course of the years. So in that way, like I mean, there is a kind of an inhibition to an extent, to a slight extent, for people to take mechanical engineering who want to pursue, say, robotics or any interdisciplinary study. So I think this could be a chance to bridge that gap and then remove that misconception regarding some so yeah, it could be a good way to include activities to remove those misconceptions about certain topics and certain inhibitions that people generally have.
With this, we come to the end of the interview. I thank Mr. Nitish for joining us here today and sharing his views and opinions. Thank you.
Thank you. All the best.